Persona 5, a game that's originally released on the 15th of September in 2016 by Atlus and P Studio. It received extremely high praise for its in-depth story, being very polished and having an unreal amount of content to sink your teeth into. A full normal playthrough of Persona 5 takes just under an outrageous 100 hours, which is really impressive just for one playthrough, and something I personally really like. Having a game I know I'm going to have the chance to really get immersed into and enjoy for a long time is exactly my kind of game. But of course, this may differ from person to person, like all of my opinions in this video, and that is absolutely fine. Persona 5 was so successful that on the 31st of October in 2019, Atlus released Persona 5 Royale, which eventually got next-gen versions and a PC port over to Steam. On Steam, this version of the game has overwhelmingly positive reviews, which if you don't know is the best that you can get over on Steam, and it's clear that this game is loved by so many people. So we are here today to answer the question of what makes Persona 5 such a masterpiece to the point where it still holds up very well in the year of 2023, almost a long 7 years after its original release. This video will go over more of the general reasons over why Persona 5 is so amazing, which means that this video will be completely spoiler free as well. So let's waste no more time and let's get into why Persona 5 is amazing and why it's amazing in 2023. So, a huge point of what makes Persona 5 so amazing for me is the unique visual style that they went with, giving it that animated style and making the characters visually more realistic with their stature, which is very different to the art style of Persona 4, where the characters are smaller, being more reminiscent of games like Pokemon in my opinion. I think the way everything looks and the overall design of all the characters looks really cool and actually very well made. I even like small inclusions, like when you are speaking with another character, they will have an icon in the bottom left of the screen that changes poses and expressions depending on what they are talking about. It's pretty cool. Having this more animated look is actually a nice refresher for me personally, as it is a style I haven't actually played all too much of, and I generally think it is very pleasing to look at. Along with this, there are also cutscenes that play out in a drawn animated style like a typical Japanese anime. I am a really big fan of this, as the change in style from the 3D animation look to a hand-drawn 2D one is a really nice touch for me in my opinion, and really grabs your attention as you know something particularly important or at least entertaining is going to be shown. These switches from the normal style to these cutscenes are done very effectively as well, as this could have easily been jarring for the player to experience such a significant shift in visual style if it was executed poorly, but Persona 5 does not at all suffer from this issue whatsoever. Overall, the visual style and graphics for Persona 5 are absolutely phenomenal, to put it simply, and definitely contribute to why this game is so highly rated across the whole gaming industry. So, now onto the part that, to be honest, is the main reason as to why this game is loved so much: the gameplay. Where do I even start with the gameplay, because there is a lot to do. Persona 5 is set in modern day, with real world locations being explorable such as Shinjuku and Shibuya. Time management and meeting deadlines is a huge part of this game, along with high intensity turn-based fights that you will need to play out strategically to be able to come out on top against high level enemies and bosses. Main bosses will have a certain deadline that they must be defeated by, so you will need to effectively manage your time to make sure your team is well equipped and strong enough to take on the big threat that stands in the way of the Phantom Thieves. This can be done by earning yen through part-time jobs and purchasing improved weapons, protectors and healing items as well. Persona 5 also contains a wide range of different characters that you can spend time with to obtain a deeper connection with. These characters are known as confidants. Spending time with them leads to their confident level to increase, giving you access to certain benefits inside battle and about your daily student life. Every confidant has a specific persona type that they are connected with. Personas are what you are able to use in battle to fight off enemies, as they have different types which will be strong and weak against certain types of attacks. For example, an Takamaki is listed as the lover's confidant, so having a lover's type persona will increase the chance of increasing her confident level whenever you chose to spend time with her. And as stated before, increasing their confident level will give you access to certain benefits depending on the character and level of the confidant. I feel on the whole that this whole mechanic gives the character extra depth as you slowly start to understand more and more about them and generally become more connected with them. This connection does also carry over to fights, such as them jumping in for a follow-up attack if you don't manage to knock down an opponent. This whole confidence system I just generally really love about Persona 5, as it gives you time to really understand and connect with your teammates to become even more immersed in this, what I would consider, amazing game. Such a nice touch, and I am very happy this was brought into the game. So let's get into the battle talk. Fights involve maintaining your HP and SP effectively, along with targeting the weakness of whatever opponent is in your way. SP is what is used up when using most of your Persona's elemental abilities, so managing this in the most efficient way will lead to your team being able to investigate palaces in the distortion for longer. SP carries over from fight to fight and will only be replenished through items and resting. There are other moves you can do in battle that do not take SP, such as melee or ranged attacks. It is a good idea to keep a healthy mix of Persona attacks and melee/ranged attacks to maintain as much SP as possible. The fights in Persona 5 are just perfection for me. I have always loved strategy turn-based games where you have to try and outsmart and outplay the opponent to come out as the victor, so this is right up my alley, to be honest. The way you can combine certain debuffs and attacks to do some major damage to enemies is really cool, and it does make you think about stuff other than just constantly attacking. I also like the way that you can cater different roles for different characters. For example, I like playing with Morgana being a more support/healing role other than being offensive, so I have Mona on the heal/support option, which leaves his decisions out of my hands and strictly up to Mona's AI with the instructions I have given him. The way you can give your part members specific instructions to cater to the way you like to play is also a really nice touch in my opinion, as fights become more personal to your fighting style. The way you may choose to deal with a threat may be completely different to someone else, and that idea is really nice in my opinion, as it allows the player to be creative and experiment. Just maybe don't try something completely new when it comes to a boss fight, of course, that might not end well. Overall, I would say Persona 5 has some downright fantastic gameplay that really engages your brain to think of the most strategic and effective way to take down whatever foe is standing in your way. This is one of the main things that points out why this game is such a masterpiece. Pure perfection, in my opinion. Now, I do want to briefly mention the story as a whole without mentioning any specifics, so I am actually currently about halfway through the story of Persona 5, and I do have to say that I was quite shocked on how dark this game actually is, as it covers some pretty serious topics which I was not at all expecting from a game like this, to be honest, but I really do enjoy the story, and have become quite immersed in this different world, and I'm really interested to actually see how it all ends. So, lastly, but certainly not least, the music. It is absolutely amazing, to put it simply. Whoever made the soundtrack for this game deserves some kind of, outstanding awards, because every song just fits this game's whole feel so well and captures the real emotion that they are trying to give off. I would generally recommend to go and listen to the soundtrack, as I'm sure you won't be disappointed. Even if you haven't played the game yet, it really is just that good. So, now we have actually come back to the question we were looking to answer at the beginning of this video. What makes Persona 5 such a masterpiece of a game? Its unique art style, its perfectly made gameplay, deep story, relatable characters that you can really connect with, an absolute ton of content to enjoy, and its fantastically produced soundtrack really is what makes Persona 5 such a special game. This is a game that you need to play in your lifetime at some point. It is a game that might take you a while to complete, but it will be worth every single second. So do yourself a favour and pick yourself up a copy of this game at your earliest convenience. I strongly recommend doing this, and I absolutely promise, you will not regret it. And there we go, that does just about wrap up things here. That was Persona 5 and how it holds up in 2023 and how it is still an absolute masterpiece. And now, on screen now, you are seeing a link to a video where I do this exact type of video, but instead we're looking at Life is Strange and how it holds up well in 2023. Hit the link on the screen if you are interested in watching that.